My name is Larissa, and I work in the education department of the Museum of Modern Art. This lesson focuses on the work of Joan Mitchell. We will start by looking at Mitchell's artwork, then we will look at how her work relates to poetry. In the end, we will do a poetry activity inspired by one of Joan Mitchell's artworks. Feel free to stop the video at any time to have a conversation or if you need to take a break. Otherwise, you can watch this video straight through. Let's start by taking a look at this painting. What's the first word that comes to mind when you look at this painting? What do you notice about the colors? Imagine you are holding a paintbrush to make this work. What kind of strokes would you make? Now, let's look close up. What else do you notice about how the artists use paint? Find one word to describe it. Even though it might look that the artist is using colors randomly, every stroke is carefully planned out so that the colors overlap, blend, and drip over many layers of white paint. As she was working, Mitchell often stepped back from her work to make sure the painting as a whole felt balanced. Mitchell was part of an artistic movement called Abstract Expressionism. Abstract refers to art that is not representational and not based on external or recognizable reality. Expressionism is a word that is used to describe any art style that is based on personal expression and emotion. Artists who were abstract expressionists used abstract art to express their own personal beliefs, values, and emotions. The painting we looked at before is called Ladybug. As in most of her work, Mitchell was less interested in representing nature, in this case a ladybug, but wanted to show how nature made her feel. She said, "My paintings are titled after they are finished. I paint from remembered landscapes that I carry with me, and remembered feelings of them, which of course become transformed. I would certainly never mirror nature. I would more like to paint what it leaves with me." In addition to looking towards nature, abstract expressionists often turn to other art forms like poetry and music in order to find inspiration and ideas. Mitchell had a strong connection to poetry her whole life. She was often inspired by poetry and tried to visually represent the emotions and sensations that poems left with her. Mitchell was good friends with Frank O'Hara, who was a poet in New York in the 1940s through the 1960s. O'Hara's poems were often inspired by the work of artists he knew, many of whom were abstract expressionists. He also asked artists to create illustrations for his book of poetry. This is a drawing that Mitchell made for O'Hara's collection of poems called In Memory of My Feelings. Mitchell also collaborated on a book of poems with Nathan Kernan. He wrote the poems, and she made lithographs, which is a kind of print. This is a page from that book. What colors do you notice? What kind of strokes does the artist make? A part of the poem on this page reads, "Yesterday morning, the sky was deep blue behind clouds orange near the horizon and higher up purple. A bright sliver of new moon like a fish flashing in the net of cable." How does hearing this poem make you look at this work differently? Let's try writing a poem inspired by the artwork of Joan Mitchell. You can do this by yourself, or you can collaborate with others. All you need for this is a couple of sheets of paper, a pen or pencil, and scissors. Take a sheet of paper and fold it into 3 columns. They don't have to be perfect. Designate 1 column for verbs or action words, another for adjectives or descriptive phrases, and the third for nouns, which could be person, place, or thing. Looking at this painting, write down all the words that come to mind. If you're having a hard time coming up with ideas, ask someone to think of some words to spark your thinking. Keep going until you have 5 to 10 words in each column. Then, cut the paper in 3 columns, then create strips with 1 word on each strip. Play with arranging phrases, combining as many of your words as you can. Copy your phrases, linking them using connecting words such as the, and, but, and others. You can also add other words as needed for your poem to make sense. As you're copying them, also think of how you want to arrange your phrases into the lines of your poem. Now, you have a poem inspired by the work of Joan Mitchell. Share your poem with others and see if they can add a verse. Or you can repeat this same exercise with any artwork. We'd love to see what you came up with. Send your poem to us at schoolprograms@moma.org.